Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, y'all. How y'all feeling on a Tuesday? I know there's grim news coming out of New York.
Blessed, black, and highly favored.
All right, I love to hear it. All right, let's get into it. So 5 people are dead, including the gunman, after a shooting at 345 Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. It happened around 6:30 p.m. on Monday evening when a man identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamora entered a skyscraper with an M4 rifle and began opening fire. Now, he traveled across country from Las Vegas before arriving into New York City, and he does have a history of mental illness. Initially, the NYPD said the shooter had been neutralized, but several sources later indicated that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, during a press conference, New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch described the shooting and said the motive remains unclear. Let's take a listen to those comments in part.
The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamora has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location.
Horrible, man. You hear stories like that and you want to know the motive immediately, right? Like you want to know his background as well. So you hear he had a mental illness, so then you ask yourself, well, how did he get a gun? We know how. It's America. Guns are easier to get than affordable health care in this country.
Yeah, legal gun. I read something this morning. Actually, I heard it on the news on the way in. They said that he said something about complaining about CTE and blamed it on the NFL. And they said that the NFL was in that building.
Was he a former NFL player?
No.
Oh.
No, he was not. He was a high school football player, though, so maybe he had big dreams. So Tisch went on to say that the gunman's car contained a rifle case with rounds, a loaded revolver, ammunition, and magazines. Now, 3 men, one woman were shot and killed after the suspect sprayed bullets in the lobby and went up to the 33rd floor before shooting himself in the chest. Among those victims was Loren Islam, an off-duty New York police officer who was working security at the skyscraper where the shooting happened. He's a married 36-year-old father of 2 with a 3rd child on the way. Police commissioner hailed the late officer as a hero. Let's take a listen to Tisch's comments. Police Commissioner Tisch's comments.
Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys.
Horrible, man.
His wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice. Shot in cold blood. He died as he lived. A hero.
Rest in peace to that brother, man.
So
Send the healing
sad,
energy to his family. That is horrible. I was looking at that video, too, not the video, the still pictures. How you just walk across the street in New York with a big-ass rifle in broad daylight? It feels like it's a police officer on every corner in New York City. No cops were on the corner and saw that happening? Like a guy just walking across the street with this big-ass rifle?
Parked his car right in the front and got out and started walking, which is crazy.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
So apparently that officer, the officer Islam, he was the first to essentially, see him, and because he saw him walking towards that building, and once he entered that building, he engaged with that shooter. So Tisch did go on to extend sympathy to the victims and their families, in addition to the NYPD officers who lost a brother. Now, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he actually opened a press conference talking about that officer who was killed. Let's take a listen and learn more.
He served in the 47th precinct. He was just 36 years old.
Damn.
A 3.5-year veteran of the department. He was doing what he does best, and all members of the police department carry out. He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city, and everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith.
Yeah. So photos have emerged of that suspect, like you said, and indicated MV and Charlamagne, of him carrying that high-powered rifle and going into that building on Park Avenue. That building, as you mentioned as well, is home to the NFL. So
his name is Shane Tamora, right?
Shane Tamora.
Yes, Shane Tamora is the suspect, not the
the alleged suspect. Well, we say alleged because you still have to, but you clearly we know what happened. But he ultimately killed himself, right?
Yeah, he killed himself.
Yes, he did.
I'm like thinking what you thinking, Charlamagne. Like, if he had CTE, right, and we know he had mental health problems this early on, that means it had to be documented. How was he able to get a legal firearm? Because he had a legal firearm.
Because this is America.
Yeah.
Why you be asking questions you know the answer to?
Because he had a legal firearm.
This is America.
And then and then just things like this, right? And this may sound very insensitive, but if you're gonna kill yourself after you do this, just kill yourself first.
Oh, I always say that.
Like
that
just doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
If you know you're gonna take yourself out, just why you?
You ain't gotta hurt nobody else.
Yeah.
Go start with yourself. If you start with yourself, then innocent people will not be killed. Start with yourself.
Yeah.
That's right.
I feel the same exact
so damn sad.
way.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging it, but I'm saying if you get to that point where you feel like you want to go out and you feel like you got to take a bunch of other people with you, no.
Right.
Do us all a favor and start with yourself, please.
All right. Well, that is front page news. We'll see you next hour, Morgan.
All right, presidential news coming up at 7. Y'all stick around.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get back to some front page news. What's up, Morgan?
All right, y'all. So in international news, President Trump says he's reducing Russia's deadline to reach a ceasefire with Ukraine. He made those comments yesterday in Scotland. Let's take a listen.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
The president initially had a 50-day deadline for Ukraine and more so Russia, and saying that he also had discussions with Putin, but too many people are dying in that war, and Putin has got to make a deal. In additional remarks, Trump somewhat spoke on the Jeffrey Epstein files, saying he wants to focus on other issues, calling the controversy a hoax.
Nope.
He questioned why the Biden administration didn't release the files during his administration, under the Biden administration, and denies going to Epstein's hideaway island. Let's take a listen to Trump on the Epstein files.
Those files were run by these people. They were run by my enemy. If there was anything in there, they would have used them for the election. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
I think, I think the reason the Biden administration didn't put it out because they know that it would be mutually assured destruction, right? Because clearly there's, powerful political figures from both sides on there, plus their allies and, corporate donors and et cetera, et cetera. But it's very important to note that the main people that want these files out are Trump supporters. This is a conspiracy that Trump's administration puts, and his supporters are the ones that want these files out. They're the ones that want the transparency. I don't know why he keeps trying to blame this on Democrats.
Clock that T. All right, so Trump says he banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago resort years ago, and he again denied a report by the Wall Street Journal saying that he sent a birthday card or greeting to Epstein that included a drawing of a nude woman. Let's take a listen to Trump's explanation on that.
I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women. That I can tell you. They say there's a drawing of a woman, and I don't do drawings of women.
So the Trump administration has faced, of course, pressure from both sides of the aisle after a memo from the FBI and Justice Department said an Epstein client list does not exist.
It's interesting, too, because it's just funny how the news works. Because Bill Clinton, wrote a letter to, Jeffrey Epstein as well for his birthday, but nobody's talking about that. And Jeffrey Epstein had a picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and high heels. In his New York mansion, but nobody's talking about that. My thing is this. I don't care who's on the list. Everybody got to go. Burn it all down. That's just simple as that. Mutually assured destruction. Whoever's on that list need to go. Nobody needs to be protecting pedophiles. I don't care what party they are.
No, period. And, to that point, though, Clinton is not the president right now. If he was, you'd think that, anyways, yeah, I think he would still be under scrutiny if he was the president right now.
No, he wouldn't, because liberal media wouldn't push the issue.
Oh, okay. Well, this comes as, speaking of liberal media, this comes as Trump's legal team is seeking to expedite deposition of Rupert Murdoch and his lawsuit with media mogul and defaming him in the Wall Street Journal article. Now, according to the filing, Murdoch opposes the request while the lawyers cited Murdoch's age as a chief argument to push for early testimony. Now, Trump's $10 billion lawsuit stems from the Journal's reporting on that birthday letter to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, lawyers for the president are also seeking any documents exchanged between Murdoch and other defendants in the case, as well as messages and logs from his calls from July 10th through July 25th. And switching gears back to New York, but also there are other states involved. 20 Democratic state, 20 Democrat-led states, including New York, New Jersey, California, and Connecticut, are suing the Trump administration over its efforts to gather sensitive information about food stamp recipients. Now, attorney generals, including New York's Letitia James, said the U.S. Department of Agriculture is illegally trying to get data on the 42 million people who receive SNAP benefits, including Social Security numbers, birth dates, and immigration status. Let's take a listen to New York AG Letitia James.
This administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants. It is outrageous. It is unacceptable. They are basically trying to weaponize the SNAP program against immigrant communities in violation of the law.
So California Attorney General Rob Bonta also weighed in. Let's take a listen to his comments.
People who apply for SNAP benefits have to provide sensitive and private information about themselves and others in their households. SNAP is a lifeline for over 5 million Californians. It helps working families, seniors, children, and people in crisis put food on the table.
So states have been giving a July 30th deadline to comply or face losing federal funding regarding SNAP. Now, the legal dispute over SNAP data arises as the Trump administration again continues to collect and links government data for immigration enforcement.
I just don't understand why they are so hell-bent on cutting things that actually help people. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. Like, I just don't understand why you got to go out of your way to cut people's SNAP benefits. That is literally how some people just, can keep food on their table.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when, I'm an ambassador for the food bank in New York City. Like, when you see organizations like that getting their funding cut, those are the people who go out there and help, the least of us, the less fortunate. Like, why would you ever get in the way of that? Why?
Oh, for real. Clock that T too. I don't have an answer, but, I will continue to follow these stories for you guys. That's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. Follow me on socials at Morgan Media. That's MorganMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank y'all so much. And try to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.